all these things we do to get with somebody, to, play the game and to make them like us. If they're not the right person, all you're doing is tying yourself up with someone who's going to bring likely more trouble than it's worth, right? And here's the thing about playing games. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right? Well, even if you win the prize, it's stupid. So when you're trying to build something real with the person, you're trying to build a closer friendship or put yourself in a better position for work opportunities, or you're trying to engage in a romantic partnership with somebody. Playing these games may work to get you a certain distance, but then you're very likely to end up in the wrong situation in general because there's no making a silk purse of a sow's ear, right? It's just you're working with the wrong materials. And so we can see all these points of guidance for how to make women attracted to you, how to get the man. Okay, well, and that's a very clear breakdown of where the priorities are, right? Because for a woman, she's the gatekeeper of sex, and for men, they're the gatekeepers of relationships, commitments at least. Right? And so whatever it is you're trying to angle around, you're number one not accounting for that fact. You're trying to bypass that fact instead of meet it head on with a lucid and mature attitude and approach. You're playing games, which, okay, I am all about play, I'm all about games, but in this, we're not talking about actual play or games. We're talking about low-grade manipulation. And here's the other thing. Being manipulative is not necessarily good for us. It causes us to create splits within ourselves. And it's those splits that cause the breakdown over time. So being manipulative with others ultimately is corrosive to our own integrity and well-being. And so that's reason enough. Beyond that, yeah, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. The prize you get for that is not worth winning. So, yeah, there's another point. And what was the third one? I had a third one. Where'd it go? Your third point? Third point? No. Okay. Oh, here's another one. You can convince somebody that they should be with you by pretending to be someone or something other than who you are. But then you're left with two options. You either have to keep up the facade for as long as you're with this person, or you have to let it down and then wait and see if they would have chosen that if they'd known that was what was on the menu. And that could very easily result in rejection now that you're invested, now that you're attached, now that you're vulnerable and exposed, and the pain would run so much deeper than if it was a random person you met 10 minutes ago or maybe had a couple of dates with, right? Or you've known them casually for a little while and you realize it's not a fit at that point. You don't have the hooks in. You just cut the line and keep going, no pain. Whereas if you knowingly hide who you are, what you want, how you operate, while you get those hooks in, being attachment and investment and these other things that come with being close to somebody over time, then you got to pull the line with the hook, and it takes a chunk of you with it, and it's so much the worse than just sort of acknowledging up front, this isn't a compatible match. This just isn't. As much as I find this thing appealing about you, I have to come as who I am and let you decide whether that appeals to you, or we're both going to end up in a mess. And another finer point on this is that while you're doing this, you're not developing yourself. You're not developing the relationship you have with yourself. You're not making yourself available to form new connections and build new bonds that could blossom into something like what you want. You may think that this individual in front of you is the be-all, end-all, and that you have to hold on to this for dear life. But if it turns out that you are not a match, you have now invested all that time, energy, attention, emotion, cogitation, all of it into the wrong place, and you're costing two people an opportunity to grow, develop, and make new connections in more fruitful places. So it's cheating yourself and robbing another to do that. And again, it's kind of bad karma, and it breaks down the relationship we have with ourselves. All of this will always seem to circle back to integrity, because we use the word integrity when we talk about engineering. We talk about structural integrity. Will the thing hold together? Is it going to burn up as soon as it makes contact with the atmosphere? Is it going to, are the wheels going to come off as soon as you start driving it? What's going to happen? Is the roof going to cave in as soon as people get inside? You need to consider the structural integrity of things that we engineer in the world, material things. But you also have to think of the structural integrity of how we build ourselves up and how we build the relationships we have with others. And so integrity is more than being honorable. It's about being cohesive, right? Functional. So, yeah, it's one more thing that erodes our well-being, and that of those we interact with, anybody we draw into this. And that's the thing, is people deserve a chance to make an informed choice when it comes to these things. And if you're misleading them, you're already starting from a place of broken trust. So we talk about what it takes to have healthy relationships: good communication, good trust, right? And when you're using communication to break trust, there's no foundation to rebuild from when that truth comes to light. So you're basically tearing out any foundation you could really have to build on if this were the right person, and you're putting a lot of energy into setting up smoke and mirrors to make it seem correct, and thereby making it that if it turns out that maybe you guys could have been a good match in some way, that would be the saddest thing. If it comes to light that what you were concealing is actually perfectly agreeable. Here's the tragic story. Let's say somebody lies about not having kids. They're like, oh no, I don't have any kids. And they figure they can tell this person down the road once they've got them hooked, right? Like, oh, I'll get them on the hook and then I'll tell them the truth. That person might have been perfectly happy to date someone with children if they had known that, but they may not be willing to find out that the person they're putting their trust in has manipulated them and betrayed their trust by lying to them about that. So instead of just being real and making it clear with somebody who would have been happy to take you for what was true, right? Now you've broken the trust, and even though that thing you worried about wasn't a problem, your way of handling it was. Yeah? So here's to spitting in the wind, huh?